what is compelling you to find a relationship so quickly after this one has ended? In my head. Hey everybody, if you're new here, I do videos on mental health Monday through Friday, and tonight I'm going to do a video about rebound relationships because somebody suggested to me maybe that would be a good follow-up to yesterday's video, and so here I am because I haven't had time to think of something. I'm just going to jump right to the heart of this. When you get into a rebound relationship, you're taking whatever baggage you had from the last relationship in with you. So let's define what a rebound relationship is. Now, I guess a simple way to define it might be if you get into a relationship maybe before 3 months after the last one has ended, but I would go further than that, and I would say you have to kind of use the last relationship you were in as a factor in deciding whether or not this new one is a rebound relationship. And time is not the best measurement, but let's just start there. So, you know, if you were in a relationship for 5 years and you jump into a relationship after 6 months of that one ending, it's possible it's still a rebound relationship, because even though you had 6 months to yourself, that's not a lot of time to really process everything that went on and to figure out, like, well, why did that relationship fail and what can I do differently? It's going to depend on how long your last relationship was. That would be the first thing to consider. Something else to consider would be, why am I getting into this new relationship? And that's kind of what the crux of a rebound relationship seems to be to me. If you're getting into this relationship because it feels good and it distracts you from the heartbreak of the last relationship, then you never dealt with whatever happened in the last relationship, and you're just using these new feelings to cover up the old one. So I would say if that's the case, if you're just getting into a relationship and it starts to feel like, oh, this feels really good and it's erasing the old one, then you may not be ready for a relationship, to be quite honest, because you should be on solid ground, totally fine with your life before you jump into the next relationship. So this could very likely be a rebound. Now, I have seen out there, I'm going way back because this was 2 years ago that I broke up with my ex and I was reading about rebound relationships. I have seen that there was like one study, so I don't know how much I trust one study, that said that rebound relationships are healthy, and that they actually have a better success rate or something than regular relationships. I don't know how much I buy into that. Again, that was one study that said that. I would tend to believe that, you know, just from my personal experience here and from, you know, I don't know, it's just intuitive to me. If you jump into a relationship, you're not fixing whatever broke up the last one. I know that it takes two to tango in every relationship, and I know that the other person could have been more at fault, if you want to even put fault down. They could have been more unwilling to change, unwilling to compromise, unwilling to see your side of things than you were willing to see their side of things and willing to change. But there's still something that happened there, because why did you pick that person? Why did you get involved with that person in the first place? And if you're not answering that question, and if you're not answering what is compelling you to find a relationship so quickly after this one has ended, you're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on grieving, for one thing. If you haven't gone through the grieving process, it stays in you. If you don't release that sadness, if you don't go through grieving and acknowledge the loss of the person before you, it sticks with you, and that may come back to you in the form of thinking about that person as time goes on, or thinking about, like, let's say you get into a problem in the new relationship. It's going to remind you of the problem from the old relationship, and you're just going to think, uh-oh, this relationship is going to fail now, and you're not going to know why, because you didn't take the time to figure it out when you were single. And it's just going to be like the shadow hanging over the new relationship. So why would you want to get into a relationship with all of that? Why would you want to bring your baggage into the next relationship? I don't really get that. I do get that people use the next relationship to kind of cover up how they're feeling, but that's a big mistake. Now, something else that I've noticed, and this may be why I don't trust that one study, was that when people get into rebound relationships, sometimes they do make it work. They manage to go on for a long period of time, you know, and you may even know that your relationship that you just left went on for a long period of time, even though it was dysfunctional. So I wouldn't use the length of time of the current relationship, the rebound relationship, as some kind of yardstick to measure that it's going well. Just sticking together does not make a relationship. Being able to stand in the same room as somebody does not make a relationship. Relationship is about bonding. It's about spending time together, sharing mutual dreams, being able to hold each other's space when somebody's vulnerable, being able to validate. Like, there's a lot of skills that go into a relationship. It's not like you just shack up with somebody and you're done and then it's the fairy tale romance until the end. That's not how any relationship works. There's always going to be problems, and you need to have the skills to be able to resolve those interpersonal problems. So if you didn't have them in the last relationship, they're not going to show up in the next one. And just because you can stick it out for years and make it look like you have a relationship, that doesn't mean you have a relationship. So be aware of that. I think what's going on here usually is co-regulation is happening between the two people who are getting into the new relationship. Sometimes two people will rebound into each other, which I find kind of interesting, because it's like you're trying to cover up each other's insecurities, and that doesn't work. That's not how relationships work. You go into a relationship secure, you don't go into a relationship insecure. But co-regulation is the process where adults, it starts in infanthood and your parents co-regulate you, but the burden is on your parents to always regulate your feelings because you're a baby and you're defenseless and you can't really do anything about it. But as you progress into adulthood, co-regulation becomes about mutually satisfying each other and kind of picking up the slack where one lacks, where one falls short, somebody picks up the slack. Okay, I got interrupted. I'll go on a quick little mini rant here. It's so frustrating doing these videos at night because there are no private places. There's always people driving around. There's always people standing around. And every time I go to a place where I think is safe, then a cop comes by or a car drives by, and it's just so frustrating. Anyway, so healthy co-regulation is a give and take in a relationship, and if you're coming out of one relationship where there may not have been healthy co-regulation, you're going to take that same pattern into the next relationship with you. One more thing I'd like to say about rebound relationships is any relationship when it starts is kind of like fake. It's a little false because you're probably trying to win the other person over, and you're being flirty and you're being cute, and you're not being completely yourself when you're dating and you're trying to win somebody else over. So that period, that honeymoon period, we have to be aware that that's what's going on. That's not who we really are, and that's not who our partners really are. And so while it may feel good during that period that they're meeting our needs and we may feel like we're meeting their needs, we're actually not talking to the core of the other person. And when you're not talking to the other person, the real identity of the other person, then you're not having true intimacy with them and you're not having a real loving relationship. That's not how it works. Oh, I'm so sweaty out here. All right, so that might be my indication it's time to wrap this up. I'm going to put up extra over on Anchor. Download the Anchor app. Look for me, Ryan Liberty. It's like a podcasting app, and you can log in and just listen. I also post it up on Facebook if you know me on Facebook personally, I kind of post it up there. You can go to ryanliberty.com and see everything that I do. I also have it up on there, but I'll put extra thoughts about this up on Anchor. If you're new here, please subscribe and get access to my mental health videos that I do here Monday through Friday. I have over 200 videos, so if relationships is the topic you're interested in, I have videos on it. I have a whole playlist. Look for that stuff on my channel. And if you have trouble setting boundaries in particular, I recently made some free worksheets. I put them up over on my Patreon page. Go over there to check those out. As always, thank you for being here with me, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Wait. I want to know your experience if you've ever been in a rebound relationship. What was that like for you? Share it with our community so we can learn from each other.